Bracken, former Navy SEAL, best-selling author. His website is Enemies Foreign and Domestic.com. And he's, again, got him here. We're going to break in about 3 minutes. I wanted to set the table here because a lot of stations join us in the second, third, and fourth hour about how epic a point we've reached. And I know we're going to get into all the Islamic invasion accelerating. Merkel saying she's going to expand that. Martial law declared in Germany. Troops on the street to suppress the Patriots. Accelerating, bringing them in here. You know, larger, long-term plan. We can see how they want to checkmate the Patriots. It's with their Islamic proxy armies they're bringing in. I don't think for false flags now. That's to bring in more tyranny, phase one. But actually to put them in charge of us, as we're now seeing in Europe. So Matt Bracken, I mean, just give us about a 2-3 minute breakdown on what you think's happening right now. And am I wrong about how epic this situation is with Trump right now?
Not at all. This is epic for sure. This past week, I guess we had a little lull in the terror war, so we can focus on the media war. I call them, a lot of people call it the enemy media. They're a wholly owned parcel of the Democrat crime family, the crime machine, now the Clinton-Obama crime machine. You know, I think at this point, Hillary could, you know, perform an abortion and eat the baby, and she would be excused. They would say, well, it was, you know, her own choice or the mother's choice. Wait a minute.
They have a weird meme they've put out where she eats babies and it's good. Were you aware of that?
No. No, but nothing would surprise me. We really saw the enemy media go full Soviet in the last week. Full Soviet is my term for when we see these administration mouthpieces, whether it's Jay Johnson or Ash Carter, you know, look at the camera and say, you know, the sky is purple and up is down with a straight face. It's a Soviet, very Soviet in that. In the last week, we saw these memes pushed and literally within an hour go completely through the entire enemy media. One was dark. That was that the RNC convention was dark. That was in every headline the next morning. You know, we all pointed out memes about that. The other one was Russians. It's the Russians that are the DNC hack is all the Russian. Trump is a traitor. Don't look at what is in the DNC wiki hacks. Look at the fact that it's the Russians. And apparently it's not the Russians. If the Russians were doing it, they would want Hillary elected to blackmail her, because they'd own her with the top secret stuff they've got.
And it's Hillary, again, who has openly been caught at record levels selling uranium and weapon secrets to Putin.
And enriching her friends, you know, cutting her friends on these deals for millions of dollars. You know, you ensure the silence of your friends by paying them millions. The former DNC chairwoman, she's going to, you know, trundle off into the sunset with millions of dollars. The big one, though, this week for going full Soviet, I never saw anything like it, was this guy Khan, who's absolutely a Muslim Brotherhood. His function is what they call civilizational jihad. He's the jihadist with a tie, a jacket and a tie, who works for the Clinton law firm. You know, if you look at the Clinton law firm, the Clinton law firms also produce people like Lynch. You know, they're very long term in this civilizational jihad. You know, Huma Ahmadine, she goes way back. You know, all the law firms with Lynch, with this guy Khan, they're all part of the crime syndicate. You know, he went right up on stage, put up the picture of his son, and cried the crocodile tears. It was very well orchestrated. Unfortunately, Trump stepped in it. You know, he went right into the trap full steam. I don't think it'll matter after another like big attack like Nice or San Bernardino or Orlando. It'll just make Trump look smarter and Obama look like more of a traitor. I thought it was great today. Obama was definitely in panic mode, and him bringing up the names of like Ryan, McConnell, and McCain, all that does is drive more people to Trump, because those are rhino sellouts. You know, they're pro-amnesty rhino sellouts.
Let me ask you this question. You know, a lot of people get confused. I'm against the militarization of police for no reason. I'm against asset forfeiture seizure without due process. I'm against some of the federal global policies in our police, but on average, the average cop's a pretty hard-working, dedicated person. They got a tough job. I don't like some of the revenue generation, but that's political. Just like Congress put in the TSA, but leaves our borders open. I don't hate the average TSA person. But clearly, the globalists and the Clinton crime family have been trying to get us with Obama to start a civil war with all this political angst against local government and against the average cop, with record numbers, you know, getting shot in the back, getting killed, and people celebrating it. It's so clear that the right moral move, but also the right strategic move, and I've done this the last 6, 7 years, was to really understand that they want to discredit local government. That's what communists and terrorists always do in the phase where they're trying to fully take over. And I've reached out to police and military like never before. And I'll tell you, the response has been unbelievable. And I'm not bragging. This happened. Our crew all saw it. I didn't want to get it on video to get them in trouble. The Secret Service, in their suits, but also in their gear, at checkpoints everywhere, were cheering us. They were talking under their breath saying, we're under surveillance camera. I don't want to shake your hand, but we love you. The police, almost all of them were listeners. Black, Hispanic, didn't matter. And that's happening all over the country, where I see police now and they get tears in their eyes looking at me. And I talk to them and they go, we know there's a takeover. We're scared. It's not that I'm that smart. They understand the intel that we've really got a globalist takeover. And then I guess that feels good to them that at least somebody knows. But, I mean, that's got to worry the New World Order that the police and military are so awake, Matt.
Not only the police and military, but, you know, I have a 20-something daughter. They don't watch TV anymore. They consider television to be, you know, like an RCA radio. They watch the internet. And I forget where I heard this story, but I think you were on an airplane to Cleveland, and Karl Rove was on the airplane too. And you were getting cheered and he was getting booed. I mean, you know, it's becoming more overt, but I think
by the time I got off the airplane, walking to baggage with him, I probably ran into 20 people that, hey, I saw it on Twitter. I saw the video. In a 2-hour flight, by the time I get from Dallas, where I confronted him, to Cleveland, it was already everywhere. Again, how do they deal with that?
They can't. Well, unless they try to shut down the entire internet. That would be like my essay, Burning Down the House in 2016. If they can't succeed, if it looks like Trump is ahead in the polls, then they'll tear it all down. At the very pinnacle, at the very top, we're talking about people that can fly nonstop intercontinental, you know, and land at their retreat in Patagonia that's got, you know, 10 years worth of diesel for the generator. They think that's their backup plan. So no matter how bad it gets here, they'll they'll just skip to one of their remote castles.
Don't they know that people that lose families and things, I'm not making threats, but it's going to happen, will have 10-year projects to get there and find them? I mean, they're going, don't they know that no amount of security is ever going to protect them if they really do this?
Well, plus the security isn't going to stick around, or the security is going to.
Well, most of the securities are listeners.
Right. Yeah. So they're not going. It's not going to be too happy for them. But that's what their plan. As I often say, a plan to ride a tiger is not the same as riding a tiger. It's just a plan. But their plan is, no matter how bad it gets, it'll be a cleansing. All of their cooked books will be burned in the fire. There won't be any evidence left. It'll all be like, who cares? At this point, what difference does it make? After the cities are burning, who cares? Their plan is sidestep to a private island, a mega yacht, Patagonia, and then come back when the
scapegoat the cops, let half them get killed, bring in your new people later.
Well, that's their plan. I don't think it'll work, but
well, when I tell you that almost every single cop, state police officer, I don't care what color they were, and Secret Service agent was a intense listener. That has got to freak the. I mean, just.
But the chiefs are largely sold out politicians. You know, the chiefs are just eager to get more federal handouts and to turn over more of their local sovereignty.
And again, I'm not talking about me, Matt. I didn't used to do this. I'm in this position now where this is not enjoyable. This level of responsibility. I'm just saying, when you're pinging at that level, and that's what, quite frankly, you know, I've talked to Trump about, and that's what he's seen, is that, I mean, I'd be in the arena, and there'd be like the head Secret Service people just smiling at me and waving at me. I'm just saying, as a radar ping, the fact that I'm supposedly so radical, I'm really not, I'm just Americana, the fact that our message has penetrated everywhere has absolutely got to scare the hell out of the New World Order, because they're not going to run this operation with us flat-footed when their own people they're counting on to carry out the treason are so awake. And I've had police chiefs that they think are their buddies tell me privately, no, I'm not their buddies.
Yeah, the boys and girls down in the fusion centers, they all have to be wondering what's going to happen if they do get orders, for example, to to economically isolate enemies of the state. It would be very easy to do. You know, they can just trash somebody's credit cards, make it so that they're what was it, the Will Smith movie?
Enemy of the state.
You know, nothing works. You know, the cash in your wallet is all you've got. They can do that pretty easily, but Will the boys and girls down in the fusion centers obey, Gestapo-like orders? That's the question. And I don't know, because the last 8 years, they've only been hiring social justice warriors. That's how we wind up with a sold-out FBI.
We just lost Matt Bracken. We're going to get him back. Skype went out for a moment. And again, folks, when I keep talking about InfoWars here, I've been very humble over the years. This is not something I even want to get into. My dad called me this morning, and he said, so how is it now to be so dangerously in the zeitgeist? And, I mean, let me tell you, I'm experiencing stuff that almost nobody ever gets to experience. I mean, and believe me, be glad you're not. This is history, and you're sitting here with just Donald Trump, Matt Drudge, and a few other people, and you never expected yourself to be in this position. It's quite a fraternity, let me tell you. And you're being listened to by the good people, but also the bad guys. And, you have influence with your common sense and your analysis. And we've got the archive of knowledge, so we're able to get data packages to people that lay it out as briefings. I mean, I'll sit around and prepare a briefing for somebody, for a whole day if I need to. That's what I do. And then I brief people, and then they go check it out for themselves, and then it has an effect. Can you imagine being Obama and the globalist? I mean, talk about a nightmare scenario. A nightmare scenario. I mean, they have constant meetings in Congress about Drudge, how they want to shut him down because they can't control a narrative, because they'll have Obama say, I never said you could keep your doctor, and then Drudge just puts a link up where he says it. That's not magic. I'm not magic. Trump's not magic. If Trump wins by 70-something%, he gets the delegates, not somebody else. It's not magic. We're saying 2 + 2 = 4. They're not. Again, I agree with you, Matt. I think Obama, watching his body language, looks completely freaked out. I think because of the closeted voters, I think Trump's probably 15 points ahead. I think they know there's a Trump landslide coming.
Yeah, the polls are completely bogus. They're just propaganda push polls. You see a poll by a network that is a quizzling network that immediately picks up all the, the Soviet-style memes. Dark RNC convention. Russians did the DNC hack in consort with Trump. Khan is the most wonderful gold star dad in the world, and Trump's an evil monster. They've gone full Soviet. The polls, you can't believe at all. Nobody under the age of 30 has a landline phone. How do they conduct these polls? Garbage.
They're calling
in, garbage
Alzheimer's
out.
patients. They've got a database of them. They admit it.
Right. It's garbage in, garbage out. The polls are nothing more than propaganda.
Stay there, Matt Bracken. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching history unfold now. You are in the middle of 1776 Part 2, and you will determine the outcome. Get on your knees and pray to God. 800-259-9231. What do you make of Donald Trump coming out and saying, we need a landslide to defeat Hillary because only landslides defeat attempts to steal elections, which is true. And they stole the primaries from Bernie. They tried it with me, which is all admitted fact. The mainstream media is saying, this is crazy. Nobody stole anything from Bernie. There were never super delegates claiming that Trump could be blocked. It was all over every TV channel for months. It's all completely admitted. But they just say it never happened. I've got thousands of articles. I mean, I was there this morning looking at it, where I would type in Donald Trump election rigged, and it would say like 18,000 articles. It was like, let's do it on Google right now for TV viewers. I'll show people. And just click news, type in Donald Trump may rig election. Now, they're spinning it that he said they will rig it, so just give up. No, that's not what he said. And then he's afraid he's going to lose, so they're doing this. No, he knows in their own internal polling with real polling companies, they want real numbers because they want to know where they're going, that he's 7 to 10 to 12 to 14 points ahead. And when they scoop folks randomly off the street and do focus groups all over battleground states, minorities, you name it, most of them are actually for Trump. They know this. Okay, Trump knows. And I'm gonna stop right there and leave it at that, okay? But I don't need to believe folks that have done focus groups and polls. I'm out there in the street. I'm not up in some ivory tower at Martha's Vineyard drinking red wine and talking about how wonderful the world will be once it's depopulated. I'm actually researching what's going on. I tell you, it is a creepy feeling, you know. It's not like you're in college and you're writing your thesis paper or something. People get, you know, get nervous about that. Or you're in high school and finals and you're nervous about that. Imagine writing articles, putting out stories and reports, and then they're the #1 thing in the world. And people listen, and foreign leaders listen. It's come out over and over again. And I sit here, it's so surreal, and it's not about Alex Jones or InfoWars. It's about what are we saying that's so powerful. It's real analysis. It's classical Americana. It's interviewing thousands and thousands of experts in every field to get a clear picture of not what the Soviet media is telling us, but what's really happening in the world. And what's really happening is we have a global elite that controls the currency of the world that is bringing in a planetary tyrannical regime and abolishing borders to abolish the people's right to resist it. And this system creates poverty to financially control you, and they've codified it into Agenda 21 and into Agenda 2030, which are official UN ratified treaties, not by us, but ratified globally. And we're under it. And you go read what they said they're going to do, they're doing all of it. Obama goes to Africa and says you can't have air conditioning in your car. That's what they mean. Folks, this is scientific evil developed by Prince Philip. And you better get a crash course in it. It claims it's liberal and loving and anti-racist because it is racist. When they got the documents 6 years ago from the Copenhagen UN Treaty, it turned out that it basically doubled taxes on the third world, and many analysts said it would kill 1 billion people in 10 years. They've started the global culling. They've started the deindustrialization. They've started the shutdown. This is 21st century war. Our species isn't getting attacked by some outside aliens. It's being attacked by technocrats, elites that have set up a scientific plan to order the world and take it over and control it and end free will. I'm going back to Matt Bracken here in a moment. Your phone calls at 800-259-9231. But just look at the economic numbers. They're racing towards a global collapse. Many big European banks have lost half their value. CNN. The humbling of the American tech giants in China. Oh, we were supposed to always be the tech leaders. We were sold out. We were supposed to be service. That's being sold out. It's a plan to set us up and then dictate the terms of our surrender. That's Bloomberg. Global stocks drop. Yen strengthens as growth worries resurface. Japan, $276 billion stimulus plan, much smaller than it looks. This is just some of the news today. If I was a selfish person, I would be headed to the most rural area right now with my family. And I'd just disappear right now. I'm telling you, folks, the world you've known is about to be gone. Get ready. I don't know how the breaks are going to go. But let me tell you, the New World Order is even scared. When you look at them on TV, this is out of control. Like Bracken keeps saying, it's one thing to set up this plan for world government and to have all your computers and your actuaries and your algorithms. It's another thing to actually get on the horse. And let me tell you, we're all on the horse. I'm going to briefly say this and I'm done. We're funded by you, not by big fat cat sponsors, not by stimulus money, not by taxpayer money like MSNBC and NPR and all the rest of them. We sell great nutraceuticals, great storable foods, great water filtration systems, great solar panel and control unit systems that are really the best units out there for the lowest price. We've got everything from vitamin mineral fusion to you name it. Brain Force is a great natural nootropic. Some of these ingredients are prescription in Europe. It's 40% off right now, $17.76, and there's free shipping. So we had to get rid of a lot of the specials, but the 3 or 4 we kept, we're giving you free shipping on top of it. Vitamin mineral fusion. We've also got specials on DNA Force. And the funds you send to us, well, you see what we do. We change the world. We go in when nobody else will. And we give a platform to all the other great patriots that want to fight in the information war and want to get everybody ready and geared up. InfoWarsStore.com. InfoWarsLife.com to go right to the nutraceuticals or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And I want to be very clear. This isn't rhetoric. Both my grandfathers were in the Army Air Corps. One was a fighter pilot, one was a B-17 pilot. And when they would say in the ads and newspapers and newsreels that men and women back at the factories making those planes and making those bombs, and the people that delivered those bombs, and the people that sat on those airfields and loaded those bombs were just as important as the people that flew in there and dropped those bombs. And you better believe this is a 21st century high-tech war. And all of you funding us allow us to stand up against the enemy and their dirty tricks, everything else they do, and to be strong in the face of this and to really be able to go to the next level. And you have my commitment, whether we're able to go on 6 months or 10 years, I will continue to go on to the end, whatever happens. But I need, metaphysically, the fuel to fuel the planes, and I need all of you to buy the products and to pray for us and to spread the word, 360 win, to fight these people. And we need you to get the material and the articles of all these other great people that are already prominent, but many of which we're trying to elevate so that there's more people and, quite frankly, a bigger officer class in this organic resistance to the New World Order if they wipe out people like Donald Trump or Matt Drudge or myself or others. Because it's a really weird feeling not be worried about yourself, but being guilty if they kill you that you can't keep fighting. And we're here, folks. This is real. This is history. They don't want you to be real. They don't want you to believe there's hope. There is. Matt Bracken, I want to take calls, but I want to give you the floor about the latest Islamic attacks, the changing the name from Ali to David, not saying it's Islamic when they cut the priest head off, just massive censorship intensifying. I mean, this is really, really crazy. And then putting the Islamists in the positions of power to rule over us. I mean, it's really happening.
Pope. Even the Pope.
Yes.
You know, Pope Francis, you have to remember, Pope Benedict did not die in office. He was not ruled incompetent or something like that. It was a coup. It was a coup of the social justice warrior Marxist priest class that took Benedict out and put a lackey in, a Marxist lackey. That's the guy that just said that
there is no Islamic terror, and it's blasphemy to say it. We must open our borders. It's so unthinkable. It was the Associated Press. I can't even believe he said it. Go ahead. Sorry.
And how can anybody look at something like that and not see it as, you know, one more clanging bell alarm?
Does this not signify they're going for broke, as you said? This signifies
broke. Even to take out the Pope and put in a Marxist, you know, a Marxist stooge at best, and a willing participant at worst. And I want to say something about the media. I got to go back to the Soviet enemy media. I can't. It blows my mind even more than, say, this full court press, but with Khan, who got 50 times more coverage than the Benghazi families in 3 days than they got since Benghazi.
Yeah, they've been dehumanized.
But the WikiLeaks, which they turned into a Russia and Trump attack perfectly, the WikiLeaks shows that Politico, the Washington Post, name brand big shots like Chuck Todd and Jake Tapper, they're taking their instructions from the DNC. It's like going back to George Stephanopoulos in the Romney first debate when he brought up birth control. That was a talking point that he was assigned. He's a DNC agent. He used to run the Clinton war room in the first Clinton administration.
And they've got their people everywhere.
Right, Wolf Blitzer dancing and drinking champagne. Whoops, am I on camera? So the fact that these guys like Chuck Todd and Jake Tapper can still go on television and not have people out on the street when they have those, glass wall studios, throwing paint at the window or something, it's a joke. This is like the Soviet Union. Jake Tapper, Chuck Todd, Wolf Blitzer, Washington Post, Politico, these guys are named. They're cooperating. The emails show, well, do you want us to scratch any of those questions out? Or you can get pre-approval, but if these questions aren't suitable, just give us the questions you want. Come on, America. This is a joke. The FBI is sold out. The Pope is a stooge, a Marxist stooge. The media is completely on board with this. What is it going to take to wake this country up? A super 9/11? Of course, if that happens, that'll be used as an excuse to abolish the internet or take it down for a while and tame it. But everybody needs to know this can turn very quickly. This is like the moment where the cold water turns to ice in a hurry. You went to bed, it was water. You wake up, it's ice. Every morning when I turn on the TV, I'm wondering when is it going to be the day that we see an aircraft carrier on fire in the Persian Gulf? Something on that level. A bank crisis in Germany and runs on banks. Something huge is going to happen. We can all feel it. We don't know what it's going to be, but we all feel it. We can all tell. This is like May of 1914. in Europe with trains going in all directions, full of troops and artillery. We don't know where it's going to happen, but it's about to happen. It's definitely about to happen.
It's about to happen, and I can just feel the energy level. I can see it, and I see Donald Trump, who I was holding my nose about supporting a year and a half ago because they were attacking him. He was a nationalist. He had some liberal background I didn't like, but I tell you, getting to really know the real Donald Trump and seeing what's happened, he's got a lot of courage. He's under the biggest...
At least he's a fighter. At least he's a fighter. Sometimes you just need a scrapper. We don't have any more use for these Marquis de Queensberry, ballet dancer pugilists.
Well, I was about to say, but he knows the stakes, and he's
We need street fighters. We need a street fighter now. We've had enough of these Marquis de Queensberry sissies that prance around the ring, but as soon as somebody touches their jaw, they go flying over the, they go flying out of the ring. I mean, we need a fighter. Now, he's unkempt, he's uncouth. He says a lot of the wrong things. They laid a brown paper bag full of poop in front of his door, and they lit it on fire.
Doesn't matter, though. He's got guts, and guts is enough, and he's our champion, and we're going with him.
And the thing that's got the globalists in mortal panic is that a year from now, if there's a Attorney General, Andrew McCarthy, Giuliani, these kind of people, Democrats are going to prison for treason and for espionage. Prison, hard prison. The statute of limitations on what Hillary did with the server is 7 years.
What do you expect? Let me bring this up. If Hillary gets in, what do you expect?
I expect that they're going to try very hard to crack down on the internet and on free speech. She's already a strong supporter of this UN Resolution 1618, which basically institutes global blasphemy laws that would be ahead of our Constitution.
And the mainstream media is getting its butt handed to it by the new media, and so they're going to be more than happy to go along with this. We already see the censorship intensifying.
They have to, and we're very lucky that we have Europe to look at, so we can look at Europe where they have no First Amendment. And they're arresting Germans that are protesting about their own invasion. I mean, imagine, it's, your country's being invaded in a hostile, with the Quislings opening the gate for the jihadists, and the people that are complaining about it get arrested. So we're very fortunate that we have a worst case scenario unfolding in Europe right before our eyes.
I tell you,
we're not unarmed and we have a First Amendment.
Let's go to phone calls. Matt Bracken's our guest. We're going to go to John, George, Kevin, Mark, and many others. Let's go ahead and go to George in Connecticut. You're on the air with Matt Bracken.
Hi, guys. I just came up with two issues that I'd like you guys to comment on. We know that he I was watching CNN and watching the whole thing on the TPP thing that Obama was talking about. That's the one issue. But the second issue, I'll get in later. He was saying that he's unfit for office, but he didn't seem to. He went down a list of why he was for the TPP, and he was going down a list, and the one thing he mentioned that he had to have trafficking in the particular TPP. Trafficking is slavery. So he's saying that Trump is unfit, but he's saying slavery is good. Is that unfit?
Well, how about having foreign multinational secret groups running our country's decisions? That's unfit. Absolutely. Matt?
Well, it's almost beyond belief, but right now, the Department of Homeland Security is being run by the Muslim Brotherhood. Obama put in these CARE and other groups to run interference against the FBI for the jihadists. So nothing would surprise me that the first Clinton regime, they through Loral for money. They gave the intercontinental ballistic missile technology to China on a platter. They invited the Chinese scientists into Los Alamos and everywhere else. They even took away the colored badges that they could tell, like, who's foreign, who's American, who has a clearance, because it was bad.
And then they have our news and movies announce we got our rocket technology from China. They invert everything.
Right, and so there's massive treason that's gone on. Now, in a Democrat welfare state, maybe it won't matter. Like I said, Hillary could, eat a baby on television and it wouldn't matter, because the people who are welfare slaves, the welfare slaves on the EBT plantation, all they care about is that every 2 weeks their EBT card gets recharged with cash. with electronic cash. And otherwise, they really don't care. This is why they're bringing in all the illegal aliens. They're even flying them in from Guatemala and Honduras because it's too dangerous for them to make the trip. We'll send an airplane, and then your parents can come next year. Well,
and the Supreme Court rules it's illegal, but they just go ahead and go forward with it.
They don't care.
We're back live. Matt Bracken's our guest. 5 minutes to the next hour. We have another guest popping in to talk about her history with the Clintons. The whole Republican establishment is against Trump, which just shows how criminal all of this has really gotten. And the whole stage is set for any type of tyranny you can imagine with a media that will just lie about anything. I'm really surprised at how corrupt the average person is. That last caller, George, he had one other question. You want to respond to what he was saying, Matt Bracken?
We're talking, it was the TTP, or no, he was on to Khan and the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yes, about Obama selling visas.
Yeah, that's called civilizational jihad. People need to read this book. It's not a thick book. You know, it's only a couple hundred pages, if that. See Something, Say Nothing by Phil Haney. If you don't have time for books, go on YouTube and just look at the Senate hearing testimony in the middle of June. The country has been sold out. Traitors have taken over, basically. The most shameful thing and sad for me is to watch the FBI take a dive on this, like Hoover ordering Hoover and FDR ordering the FBI to not talk about Germans in the 1930s, and the FBI saying, fine, no more German investigations. It's just very disheartening.
It's incredible.
You expect the media to be prostitutes. You know, you don't expect much from the media. They just are attention whores with $1 million salaries.
I think it's just to become the cowardice because people don't realize what comes next, the total tyranny. John in Wyoming, you're on the air. Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Alex, you've got a great guest again, as usual. Way to go, Matt. You're right on a couple of issues. Number one, on these phony pollsters. Remember, in 1984, these same crooked pollsters said that Mondale and Ferraro were going to steamroll over Reagan and Bush. Yet when the voting had been done, Reagan and Bush picked up 525 Electoral College votes, while Mondale and Ferraro picked up 13. It was the biggest drubbing since FDR defeated Alf Landon in 1936. Also, I heard on mainstream media yesterday that one of the major banks in Italy is being bailed out to the tune of 5 billion euros. So the collapse is not too far down the road.
Yes, that's true. But the problem is they've now put in their special black box systems, Mr. Bracken.
Yeah, I think that unless it's really a landslide, like a 1980 landslide, my first presidential vote cast was for Ronald Reagan. And like the caller said, we didn't know because it was neck and neck. We didn't know, and then it turned out to be a blowout. I know that I don't see bumper stickers at all, none for Hillary, of course, but I don't see them for Trump either. I think people are afraid of getting their car vandalized. That's the state of this country now. But it could be a blowout. But unless it's a blowout, they'll cheat and win. But I don't think that they'll allow even a blowout to go forward. For example, if their secret internal polling shows a solid Trump lead going into the elections, I think they'll do some other form of a destabilization op just to prevent the elections. Something like, campaign of snipers.
That's right. I mean, they've got Obama on TV saying you cannot have Trump. They look scared. I mean, they're going to pull in. I think Trump's 10, 15 points ahead.
Yeah, and I think that no matter what, they are not going to let him be inaugurated and then let, Attorney General Giuliani put them in prison for espionage and treason.
Well, the larger issue is we're fighting back, so we're exposing their program. We're not just going along quietly now. And so their arrogance has been handed to them over and over again. Look at the superdelegates with Trump, so it's an exciting time to be alive. John, thank you so much. Great points. All right, Kevin and others, your calls are just 70 seconds away as we start the third hour. I'm Alex Jones. Paul Watson joins us in the fourth hour. 10 years ago, almost no one knew the Federal Reserve was private. People weren't talking about world government. Now it's all mainstream news. The Pope has to say it's a good thing. We've only begun to fight, so we're talking about some scary things here, but this is not negative. It's positive to know the truth. it's positive to understand what's happening and to know that this is the animating contest that will test our mettle. Right now, let's go to Kevin in Florida. Kevin, you're on the air with Matt Bracken and Alex Jones. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Alex, fellow conspiracy theorist here. I just had a quick point, then I'll get to my question. I wanted to ask Matt what he thought about the government successful plan to get everybody to identify with their race and everybody to get to identify with the current groups. If you're black, you have to be a Democrat and think the man's against you, and everybody's racist. If you're white, you got to cower in the corner in fear and think that your white privilege got you everything. And this leads us to, if the globalists are successful in stealing this election, which many people think, do you think there's going to be this big civil unrest for like-minded individuals like myself and fellow InfoWarriors that aren't going to stand utterly by and let this happen?
Plan, this racializing the politics in this country. I was in the military, and everybody in the military, you kind of get an attitude that we're green. You know, we're all green. So it's if people that were never in the military never saw a really desegregated society like the military is at its best. If the power goes out and there's massive looting, then I think that it's going to be very hard to not have a racial aspect to the civil breakdown, unfortunately. I think that we do need to stand on the Constitution. You know, the Constitution is what unites us. We don't take an oath to the leader or the patria. We take an oath to the Constitution. And the Constitution is not a racial document. Anybody that's a race hustler, anybody that's spreading racial dissension should really be seen as un-American.
And let's be clear, the globalists have it in the cards to use a civil breakdown, a societal collapse to bring in control. And so clearly
Absolutely.
That's why they've invoked all this race, so we don't organize together against the globalists during a collapse, which shows us they're really thinking about going to this next level.
Yeah, there's a fabulous book out. The author's name is Larson, and it's In the Garden of Beasts, and it's about the Nazification of Germany during the 30s. It's written by from the letters of ambassador who was sent over there and his daughter, watching the internal Berlin political machinations, and it's really amazing to see a lot of the parallels. The media being co-opted, the enemies of the state being, kicked out of their jobs, the Jews, et cetera.
Oh, it's a definite totalitarian takeover.
But there's the thing. Every takeover before, all the average people had to go on was the mainstream media. The big newspapers basically could get us in and out of wars just by cooperating with the powers, the powers that be in the White House. The Spanish-American War, they said, you provide the, I'll provide the war, you provide the headline.
You provide the paintings, the illustrations, I'll supply the war. That was William Randolph Hearst.
Right, and the difference is, and this is the real fly in the globalist ointment, we have our own weapons now right here. We're very powerful. Social media is power. And now, of course, 80% of the people, unfortunately, might be watching the Kardashians, and they wake up wondering who the Bachelorette is going to choose. And for those people, there's almost no hope. They're just going to be shocked and amazed when the TV goes black and the water tap is dry. They're not going to know what hit them. But for everybody else, at least we can prepare. We know that where the train is going out of control down the tracks.
Exactly.
And the
Matt Bracken, always great having you on. EnemiesForeignAndDomestic.com. We're going to come back with another guest, more calls, and a ton of news. Paul Watson coming up as well. Thank you, Matt Bracken. Bottom line, use the internet while we've still got it. These information warfare weapons are important.
Talk show host is Alex Jones. He's a conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Deeply, I think, racist.
I just got called racist by MSNBC.
I don't want that man to have a gun.
1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
The Alex Jones Show. Watch the free stream live at Infowars.com/show. We
have ended the big mega sale. The biggest in our history. Now, we have kept 3 items, though, this week. That's Brain Force, while supplies last, the amazing nootropic, for $17.76, normally $29. Leading competitors that have similar formulas are $60 to $70 to $80. So we're already a great deal at that price. It has some ingredients that are controlled or prescription in Europe. That's how powerful it is. Read about it for yourself at InfoWarsLife.com. That's 40% off. DNA Force, our flagship product. It's a big deal to offer 30% off on that. We're extending that. And then Vitamin Mineral Fusion. All the vitamins, all the minerals, the amino acids, the cofactors to help upload it. Great tasting fruit punch. Organically flavored. There's nothing else out there it's like it. It's amazing. It's plant-derived minerals. InfoWarsLife.com. That's 30% off. But I'm going to go further. Boom, here it is. Normally you sign up for auto ship, you get 10% off. You still get that on top of it. I'm doing free shipping on everything. Whether it's one Hillary for Prison shirt or a Bill Clinton rape shirt or whatever it is, whatever informational warfare weapon you want to help spread the word and meet like-minded people, free shipping store-wide. Free shipping store-wide. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you can get 40% off on Brain Force. You can get 30% off on DNA Force. I'm not going to sit here and belabor this. People should really go read and see the hundreds of studies that are there breaking down just what BioPQQ does and why this is such an amazing nutraceutical and why it's so important that folks take it daily, because the compounds in this are just amazing. I mean, you just know they're from God. But I'm not going to get into the science. Go to InfoWarsLife.com. Go there to the page for yourself, and you can check it all out at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site, and your purchases make it possible, everything we do here. So I want to thank you all for your support, your prayers, and so much more.
We're not even able to post probably half of the reviews that come in. And the reason why is because if anyone mentions a disease or they got better from a disease, the third-party review sites that we subcontract out to that monitor these reviews, if there's any mention of a disease or anything in there, it can't go up online because of the regulations with the FDA. So please feel free to call in as much as you want. We love hearing about your stories. And this is just DNA Force, but you know, the best thing that I love to do and the best thing I tell people to do is just go online, InfoWarsLife.com, and just read all the reviews.